Good morning, New Eden. I'm Frozen Fallout. I'm running for CSM, and I've been in and out of faction warfare since basically the very beginning. I have a lot of passion and love for this aspect of the game. I run the Federation Frontline Report. We're a podcast that we're a propaganda organization for the Galente. I won't deny that. We have a lot of fun with it. But we also, and this is open to anybody that's here or anybody in general that you know. I'm always open to interviewing anybody for any reason. Doesn't matter whether you've never heard of faction warfare, you've only been playing for a couple of weeks, or you've been playing for 20 years, you've never heard about faction warfare. Or you've been playing faction warfare since the very beginning type kind of thing, and you want to give your angle. My big thing is just trying to get the story out of you, and hearing what adventures that you've gone on in EVE Online. Why did you get into EVE Online? What makes you stay in EVE Online type kind of things. And having a conversational interview. A large chunk of my podcast is just dedicated to interviews, basically, and hearing the stories of EVE Online players as well. My current run for CSM, this is my first time that I've ever done this. I've been playing the game for almost 20 years. Really, Fallout's my real character that I actually started playing the game with. So 2006 is when I actually really put a lot of effort and tried to do something crazy in EVE. And I'm just super excited to be here to talk to you guys. I know that, I'm on the other side. I'm the enemy. But to be honest, I don't see the Caldari as my enemy. I see them as, this is a forever war where we get to punch each other in the face as much as we want, and we get to have fun with it. I think that there's a lot of improvements that need to be left, that are still left undone in faction warfare that could enhance it. I really want to make sure that they don't leave us for another 5 years in just wallowing in what we've got, which is a huge improvement from what we had. And I really want to make sure that there's a voice of low-sec in not just faction warfare, but low-sec and enhancing and enriching low-sec. I wish that I could say that the 0.0 got the expansion that really, made them happy. So we've enhanced faction warfare, we've enhanced 0.0, and we've enhanced high sec, but there's still a lot of work to be done in a lot of other areas. The last expansion feels a little lackluster, if you ask me. But in general, I really still think that there needs to be now a focus on faction warfare, or on low sec, and enhancing low sec, and tweaking faction warfare, tweaking pirate faction warfare, tweaking 0.0, and tweaking high sec. I've never done a high sec frontier, or whatever their home sites, whatever the heck the cool, they've got some cool things that came out for that. I don't get to do abyssals because I'm a pirate and I'm in faction warfare, so I don't do those very much. But there's a lot of cool high sec content that's out there, but a lot of that needs tweaking. And I want to make sure the little things are really emphasized. That, yeah, there's going to be some big expansion, and hopefully the big expansion focuses on low sec. But the don't just leave everything else behind. We need to have a lot of little tweaking on things, enhancing content that's already out there. Let's make some more epic mission arcs, for high sec, even low sec. In 0.0, let's enhance NPC 0.0, and let's enhance low sec so that it's a haven of cruisers and below, having lots of really cool content, getting small gangs out there, causing chaos inside of low sec, and having a lot of fun. So I'm really interested to hear what questions you guys have, though. For me, I'm sure there's going to be, some questions of whether, I want to make sure, I don't want to nerf the Caldari. I want to make sure that we all get an enhancement that we all have fun and we can just throw ships at each other and blow each other up all day long, and that's the goal that I always have at EVE.
All right, we can open up to questions.
Hello, I just got here.
Hello.
Frozen, what are your thoughts on changes or improvements to battlefields?
So my immediate thought goes to I don't think there should be offense and defensive battlefields. I think there should be battlefields and the payout should be the same. In fact, there is no difference besides the payout in an offense and defensive battleground right now. So I don't see why payout isn't fully for everything. I think I'm really happy actually that they stopped the cheese of having a battle cruiser. I think that having a little bit of work that you have to do for a battlefield is good. It's a lot of freaking LP, and making them work for it, and making us work for it and you work for it is good. And I like battlefields to a certain degree, but I also think that we should have more stuff similar to what the Pirates have, where it's not just battlefields as well. I'm also a proponent of getting rid of the idea of offense and defensive payout at all. We should have, similar to the Pirates, that there's an NPC that's shooting another NPC, and whatever side that you're on is you got to shoot the other NPC, and then you get a full payout for being on the front line. Back line gets nothing, command center gets something, front line gets the best. Um, yeah, I really think that there's small enhancements that can be made, little things that can be changed. It doesn't need like a full expansion. It just needs a little bit of look at. And Battlegrounds needs a little bit of a look at. But I kind of like Battlefields the way they are, besides the stupid payout that they have. I've seen some really great battles inside of Battlefields, and I just wish we were a little bit more incentivized to shoot each other.
What are your thoughts on possibly changing or trying to standardize the respawn time for the NPCs inside of the battlefield?
I think that there should be a longer respawn time for sure. Once again, just a little tweak of it, make it about 30 seconds longer before a spawn happens. Speed up the battlefield a little bit more. But I have to say that in the beginning, I was really concerned because sometimes, it would feel like you just killed everything, and all of a sudden there's another spawn that just immediately happens. I think that's a bad feeling, and that they should make sure that that doesn't happen. That there should be at least some leeway so that we're just not like, oh my god, are you serious? I just killed all you rats. Um, so
It's actually because the timer is bugged currently.
yeah. Um, and I want to make sure also that I want to emphasize that I understand that the role of the CSM is not to walk in and be able to do dev changes. That this is all. I'm an advisor. If I get to be on CSM, I'm going to be pushing a paradigm. I'm going to be pushing a thought pattern of prosperity and enhancements and little things. I will definitely have details specifics that I want to have, but I also want to make sure that it's understood that CSM is not a dev. We don't get to come in and make specifics. We get to advise, but you want to make sure that you have some specifics to a certain degree. But I try and make sure that there is. I'm not going to be hardball on stuff. I'm more towards let's improve things and let's have a discussion. And I'm willing to be like I'm wrong. I didn't quite understand that system now that I've talked more about this and had a deeper dive into things, that even though I think that I'm experienced in, I try and keep an open mind and listen, but I will fight passionately for things that I believe in, and battlefield improvements I think are really freaking easy for us to do, and like you said, a little bit more time, make it so that it gets a full payout no matter where it is, because it's always going to be on a front line, right? So let's get let's get to shooting each other in battlefields instead of being like, why even bother with that one.
I have a question in your thought pattern, being you bring it up. I've been in a game since 2004, so I'm a very old, bitter vet, so keep that in mind as I talk. I've mostly been in piracy, so I'm pretty new to faction warfare, just joining the Corp and Alliance a few days ago. And having been around for a very long time, I'm kind of curious to the idea of focusing so much on like sites, right? PvP versus having a thought pattern of I guess pushing or educating CCP or promoting, I guess should be the right word, promoting the idea that we should be, I guess, utilizing LowSec more than just the sites. So I say this in a sense, I come from a generation where we had pirate factions, pirate alliances before we had the alliance system, and pirates back then controlled the bottlenecks into nullsec. And a lot of the alliances focused on actually harvesting or gathering resources from the territories that they controlled. So, for example, having mining corps in a pirate faction, right? For example, so mining corps would be mining, and they would be providing, IS to the pirates, who would, lose ships, and then they would replenish those ships through, mining. And I'm just curious, so why, like, Lewis, and this is, I guess, a general question, why faction warfare or even, faction alliances don't really put a lot of emphasis on utilizing the actual regions that we control, that we, fight in, as opposed to like you said, like improving battlefields, improving
No, that's
the sites. Does that make sense? Like we're
absolutely,
sitting here,
absolutely. This is,
like
I
none
think
of us
this,
are mining, none of us are hacking, none
right?
of us are
No,
actually utilizing.
absolutely. This it kind of goes into my platform, and this is something that I hope that this appeals more to the Caldari than it does to the Galente at this point. Is that we should be able to utilize our space. We should be able to upgrade our space. We should have cool things in the back lines for the Caldari to do. If you guys own 90, I don't want to see the old system of where, like, if you own 90% of the or the war zone, you got a better LP payout. So it's all about, if you're doing better, you're just doing better. But if the space that you have, you should be able to upgrade, utilize, have cool things that are happening there, cool sites that'll spawn only because you guys have held it as a back line for more than 4 weeks or something like that. A little bit of let's be able to upgrade and enhance the space that is owned by faction warfare, and possibly even something along that lines. I'd be very careful about controlling space in LowSec. I like the idea that there's a war between the Caldari and Galente, and if you control the space, I can't dock. If you could enhance it, that would be even cooler. And so there's a thing, but you want to be careful when you spread that out to LowSec in general, because you don't want owners of space in LowSec. But I definitely
I don't think you need
agree.
to replace nullsec. I get
Right.
what you're saying.
Right, but I do think that there should be more. Let us enhance our space. Let's build on more of this. They allowed for us to have these. Fuck, what's the name? The slingshot thing that allows you to get across. I never used them. So you can build some structures now for faction warfare that allows you to sling yourself from across the galaxy, and I would say that we should have more of these things that we can kind of build up. There's some things a little bit like 0.0 but lighter. And also open to the understanding that you can't control the space. It's not like this is guaranteed resources for the Caldari. It's guaranteed resources for LowSec. That means a lot. And I always think that content in LowSec should be restricted to not a dead space area that probably has an acceleration gate and restricts things cruisers and below, so you don't have Empire Snuff coming in and being like, ha, all this new resources that are here is awesome, I'm just taking it all for myself. They don't play in faction warfare because they can't sino into us. They can't deal with the fact that you have to be cruiser down in majority of our battles. Even battlefields they don't want to go play in where you can be battleshipping down. That's we need to create more content that's not catering to the the lords of low sec and allow for just a bunch of people to kind of pile in and do a bunch of stuff. And I think starting with faction warfare areas by allowing us to enhance it would be really cool and do a little bit of empire building. It's not permanent. We understand it's not permanent. We understand that it's utilized by a bunch of other people, but we should have cool ass unique shit that allows for even beyond and it should be not just accessible to faction warfare people and only give out LP. It should be stuff that's like, oh, this is where you get the ISK to spend on the LP store, so that you have ISK and LP that you're getting through this system. And the ISK part of it is a competition with everybody in the galaxy that wants to come here and play with cruisers and down.
So I have a question.
Have you considered, like, we already have an upgrade system? And like the
the shitty upgrade system that we have, yes.
Yeah.
But we could enhance it, yes.
Yes, that's basically.
Yes.
That would be really cool.
Yes. Dump LP into a system in order to upgrade it. That's awesome. I would love that. Absolutely. We do have an upgrade system, but once again, back to the little tweaks. We just need a little tweak to it, and that's making it. And there's a lot that you can do to make that better, I think. That's not a lot of work. It doesn't take a lot of dev time. It doesn't need a major expansion.
So I have a question. Well, Charlotte's not here, so I'm going to ask it based off of what he asked Young Puke yesterday when he was talking. You have leadership powers. You know, you said you already run a Galente propaganda stream and platform. How can you guarantee that you won't use your position as CSM to further your own goals?
I would say, I'm going to be honest here, is that I can't guarantee that. I can't say that, I'm not impartial. I am a Galente. I do see from the Galente point of view. What I will promise you is that I will listen to you guys. Whatever you want me to come on a town hall, whenever you guys want to express your beliefs on how how I need to advise CCP on the direction that things are going. I will guarantee that I am passionate about Eve way more than I'm passionate about the Galente. I love the Galente, don't get me wrong. I am a Galente through and through. I've been part of faction warfare since basically day one. I have, built up X Meta, built up an epic corporation that I had a lot of fun with. I moved on from there to do a bunch of 0.0 stuff, and I'm back now in the last 4 or so years to, I love this game. I love faction warfare. I love you guys. I love meeting up with Corvus in FanFest was one of the best experiences I've ever had drinking with my enemy. I loved it. Like, this is this is not 0.0 hate. This is not I'm not looking to try and this is not a war we win, boys. We're here forever. Please hang out in Valhalla with me for as long as you possibly can. And let's have some fun. I definitely am a Galente propagandist. I'm definitely a hardcore RPer for the Galente. And I'm going to have some bias because of that, and I can't stop that, but I can guarantee that my heart is really here for enhancing Eve, enhancing faction warfare, having fun, building communities. I run player, live events here in Madison, Wisconsin. I doxed the living fuck out of myself, and I'm probably going to get swatted at some point. But I do it because I love Eve and I love you guys. The community that I've built out of everything, the people that I've met, the best times that I've had are going to Eve meetups with people, and I've done an insane amount throughout my time. And I'm here for you guys. I'm not here to make the Galente win a war that's not winnable.
Fair enough.
Building on that, I've always kind of got the feeling, and some players get it and some don't, that a lot of the content in faction warfare, it depends on each of the two sides. You guys aren't going to get a lot of content without us and vice versa. So I appreciate, what you're saying and the things that you're doing, and I've always gotten the feeling that's how you approach things. Going back to, force projection to a degree, um, what are your thoughts about the recent changes to Zarzak and some of those things in terms of how they've affected our ability to move to other places other than Null?
So one of the big things is I use Zarzak a lot or I used to use Zarzak a lot as a Spectre Fleet FC. I do NPSI, and I keep it out of our war zone. I don't use Spectre Fleet to fight you guys. I don't use it to do any stupid plexing or force you out of anything. If I take a Spectre Fleet out, you might see me in a fleet that Spectre Fleet comes fucks around in Black Rise and stuff like that. But I'm definitely not running it. I loved using Zarzak, and I thought that was really awesome. I also have an understanding of like the using Zarzak as a 0.0 Empire kind of power projection was dangerous. Because when Zarzak came out, I wasn't part of 0.0. I don't know how effectively they utilized it besides what I hear on Reddit, what I hear on the forums and stuff like that. And from my understanding is it was being abused to a certain degree. So locking down Zarzak and making it like I also believe that it should be a pirate haven. I will say real quick here that I think that the pirate expansion would have been a lot better spent by just incorporating it more into faction warfare instead of adding in the 3-body problem. But since we got the 3-body problem, let's play with it and let's have chaos and insanity. Zarzak should be a staging point for the pirates, and it should be a stronghold for the pirates, and it should be for the pirates. It shouldn't be for anybody else. But the thing is that I also understand that it's really fucked up how powerful the pirates are, and it pisses me off that a lot of the emphasis on faction warfare, a lot of the growth that we've had is focused into the pirate factions and not us old-timey, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way of having fun. I was very tempted to go over to the Angels. Very, 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 very tempted. I had to debate it for a long time. In fact, I was part of Noir and the network when that change happened. And they eventually did go over to the Guristas. And I had to have a very long moral quandary about my loyalties in this game. And I did end up being like, I've been in the Galente forever. I've run a Galente podcast. I've been doing it for years. I'm trying to build something here with the Galente. I'm going to stick with the Galente and stick with the old faction warfare system. The appeal of the new pirate system is too powerful, and we need something like maybe if you do pirate faction warfare as a Galente or a Caldari or a Mar or Mimitar, that you get access to the Mordor's Legion, a special Mordor's Legion LP store. In fact, all LP stores should be just revamped. There should be a whole LP store revampation of reevaluating, not just little tweaks. We need just a whole, let's reevaluate the whole fucking thing. That's one of the big changes that I know will be like, I'm not a dev, so I can't force them to do this, but I will fucking be like, please, every time I get, I'll be like, please, let's look at the LP store. But yeah, so I would say that the changes in Zarzak really upset me in the sense that I can't NPSI through it anymore, but I'm just going to go to Turner. I have a workaround. I'll just go to Turner. I'm going to use their wormholes and get around. That way I've got filaments if we're under 25 or whatever. So, I've got workarounds to not having to deal with Zarzak. And it's not really stopped my power projection, but I can see how it stopped a lot of people's power projections, and maybe that's for the good. It sucks that it's hit the little guy, but the big guys were abusing it from my understanding.
Thank you.
I mean, you just mentioned revamping the LP store. CCP already kind of did adjustments, tweaking it towards, needing manufacturer and that kind of game plan for LP, where a lot of other spaces have, red loot, blue loot that earns ISK. Oftentimes we hear from, newer players or even vets alike newer players just trying to make a buck, and vets going, well, what's my long-term solution on this LP stuff? And creating an efficient methodology Eve. What would you suggest, or how would you go about some changes specifically to LP and generation of ISK?
Now, one thing I will say is that I am really happy with CCP's recent ability for us to sell ISK, kind of, or sell LP kind of for ISK. To other players to trade LP. I would love to see that system enhanced. If we're talking about little things, I would love to see that enhanced. I would like to see things a little bit more balanced out. Like, let's just remove all the negative LP ISK to LP ratio items in the store. They don't need to be there. Let's get rid of a bunch of the stupid shit. Let's unclutter, so that new players can come in and be like, oh, there's a bunch of options here. Some of these are better than others. But for the most part, anything I buy out of this store is worth it. Let's just make the LP store worth it no matter what you buy in it. And that doesn't mean that every item that's currently in the LP store needs to be buffed or changed. It just means a bunch of them needs to we need to get rid of them. We don't need them and if we're going to start small, let's just start with the Faction Warfare LP store. That should be super player friendly, because the other LP stores are kind of like a side thing, right? That, I mean, all throughout my EVE career until Faction Warfare, I've never given a fuck about the LP store. That's not where I get the majority of my ISK. Depending, there are some activities that are really LP heavy, but especially on the low, new player experience, you're not caring about the LP wallet that you've got and what to do with this LP stuff. You're worrying about generating ISK, right? But in Faction Warfare, it's all about LP. And if that's the philosophical paradigm that you're going to go with, that Faction Warfare equals LP store, then the LP store needs to be new player friendly, and it definitely can't generate you, it should never generate you negative ISK for buying an item. And it should always be, there needs to be a fluctuation of some items are better than others. There's an ebb and flow. You motherfuckers and your goddamn P&I fucking hate you. That's okay. That's okay to have that kind of ebb and flow of some items are better than others. Some LP stores are better than others. To a certain extent, I would love to see a better balance. And coming from the Galente point of view of like, your LP store, very sexy. Our LP store has some sexy items in it though, so I'm not complaining too much because I just build E&Is all fucking day long. Like, I got an army of E&Is to throw at shit, and I'm happy with that. I would love to have an army of P&Is, but we can't all have cool shit. But but the basis of it is the enhancements to the small enhancements to the LP store. There's a lot of cool little small enhancements we can do, and it mainly just makes it just that it's a much easier time for a new player to come in, buy something off the LP store, and have actually made a profit off of it and use their LP efficiently. At least 500 ISK per LP type kind of stuff. And then you can go up to thousands of LP or ISK per LP type kind of items that you mess around with, and there'll be an ebb and flow of that. But I think revolutionary changes in it is coming down to providing just unique special items to each faction. Even messing around with multiple different stores only having very unique items inside of it. That's the only way to get it in the game, to ensure like that's where the supply is. We already have that to a certain degree with our faction blueprints, which are really great is to LP. But I think that should be enhanced all throughout the entire LP store. Just needs to be kind of re-looked at. And
hey guys, do you have any LPs for sale?
And LP should be definitely, like, the enhancement to the LP trading needs to be there. Like, LP trading, I think, is kind of cool. I like the, and I would love it if it could be player to player type kind of thing. Oh, and a record, a log, and a true trading system that's not reliant on trust.
So Frozen, I have a question. So related to LP store stuff, one of the things I get asked a ton is about buying back LP from our members. And usually my problem is I don't have the ability to move LP at the rate at which people can generate it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I noticed when Havoc came out was that the pirate factions have these massive blueprints, right? You know, like Azariel and stuff like that. Things an alliance or a corporation can build to sell. And we just don't have anything like that in the
Mm-hmm.
game at the moment. What are your thoughts on getting us stuff like that alliances can build towards LP-wise, or giving us an ability to better move LP for our members?
Faction structures, faction titans, faction carriers. These are things easily. These are also. I don't think these are big expansion things. Like, takes a lot of dev time. You can make these items. Also, faction logi. I would love to see the Thorax, be a Logi ship, and the Navy Thorax Logi ship would be kind of awesome. Adding more into unique items into our LP store, especially on the large scale, would be kind of cool. Like if there was a faction Fortizar that could come from our LP store, big things that we can throw down. It would be nice if it would be if we could throw these things down in Losec, but without making deals. But sometimes you gotta fucking make a deal, man. You gotta be like, okay, I want the faction Fortizar up. I'll pay 2 billion ISK or whatever to snuff, to deal with that problem. Or we can unite and let's just fucking kick Snuff out. I'm just saying, not that it'll ever happen, but fuck Snuff. Anyways, yeah, I would love that there would be more LP projects for us, bigger items for us, more things, because yeah, the massive amount of LP throwing at this is crazy. And the beautiful thing is that the LP store is not an ISK faucet, it is an ISK sink. Use it to its advantage. Pull ISK out of the game with big ticket items inside of the LP store that corporations can work towards, especially since we have corporate LP now. Now that we're pooling together a massive amount of LP, let's have some big ticket items on there. We already have a couple with the Titans. Let's do more.
Hi there, I have a question. My question is related to the ability of the faction to enforce blue on blue
Good question.
repercussions, penalties. So right now it's fairly possible to join a faction and shoot the other faction members, and you can do that for a pretty long time before the game removes you, and it's not congruent with the sort of repercussions you would have if you were in a player run alliance or something like that. So how will you suggest adjustments there to allow us to either better enforce it ourselves or to have the game enforce it for us?
One thing I'm going to say right here is, first off, there needs to be a very large discussion on this. There needs to be a lot of ideas thrown around and have a lot of different discourse over this. We need to have a lot more discussion regarding this, and it needs to be at the CMS table very strongly, because the AWOXing problem is real. One thing I will also say is this is a deficiency in my area of understanding, because the Galente don't have the problem like you do. We have a little bit here and there, and those fuckwads we just fucking deal with, and it's not a problem. Especially since most of them are already -10, and just they don't know how to fucking do it right. But you guys have to deal with people who know how to stay AWOXer permanently. They know how to disrupt your operations through AWOXing, fuck with your new players, cause chaos that is just not warranted. There does need to be a lot of review on this and discussion on this. Now, I will say, from what I understand and how I would deal with the situation, whether this is right or wrong, One is that I would up the penalties a little bit more, especially pod killing. Although pod killing is really rough, I fucked up and I had friendly fire turned off on my corporation, and I potted one of my buddies thinking that I had it turned on. We were in Zarzak doing an NPSI thing actually, and I took a huge fucking hit. I was like, oh fuck, that sucks. But I think there should be a huge hit for pod killing. I think there should be a substantial hit for killing, and especially solo killing or not solo killing, but like it's hard to like build a thing, but the killing should be penalized, and definitely we should be really okay with accidental shootings. Accidental shootings that don't end up in a kill mail should be. It happens. You have to be really careful with that. Smart, nobody can use smart bombs in our situation. It's hard to be a Logi with a gun, and maybe that's okay. Maybe Logis shouldn't have fucking guns. Maybe the sensor booster guy shouldn't have a gun on him, or he should be more aware of what the fuck he's doing. But you can't do like the 3 strikes, you're out. You have to be careful about a lot of that stuff. My solution on top of that, though, is also, if you're in faction warfare, you're war deckable, period. Done. Let civil war begin. If you're inside of a NPC corporation, there is a time period of AWOXing that you'll have, and repeat, like super repeat offenders that you can put all the way up to like reefing type kind of stuff. Maybe that's a CCP thing that I'm not gonna like get into, but I think that you have to be careful about being like, oh, there's just an overriding authority that just slaps down and bans people and and just just for things and assumptions. The system that we have is okay. Let us war deck, make the penalties a little bit harder for killing and having a pod kill for sure should be a huge negative for doing that to somebody that's supposed to be blue to you. But yeah, the AWOXing problem is a problem, and I want to make sure that that's well known.
What about tying it into like the criminal suspect system, where if a blue just shoots a blue, then you cut their LP generation off for a determined amount of time? I know that's
hurt the ones that are doing this the most damaging are the farmers. I completely agree with that, and the more that you can hit their wallet. Now, how much extra coding and extra stuff that is going a little bit above and beyond, and you're definitely going to need developer involvement on like new coding system, because we don't quite have that from my understanding. But maybe it's really simple, and maybe POS code makes it completely impossible. But I would love to see that yeah, it basically not now I'm -5 or more, neg 10 quite a bit. I would love to still be able to generate LP if I've never shot anybody, and I'm just doing my thing. So as long as that's not a problem, I'm all for that. Yeah, if you're a criminal, you can't make LP for a little bit. This is, you're in a timeout from the Caldari. You've murdered an innocent. And if that innocent, especially if that innocent is somebody that's technically on your side.
Just question on coding, and I never really paid attention to the CSM. Forgive me, but is there like a rule with CCP and what you guys suggest? If it requires dev resources, do they kind of frown upon it, or are you just saying that because of past experience that usually if you guys are suggesting changes that involve dev time, they usually don't do it?
I haven't been part of the CSM, so I'm not directly know exactly what the rules are regarding that kind of if there is some kind of either spoken or unspoken kind of thing. But the more that you have to rely on major development time being put into something, the more likely that you're not going to get it. It's just we're an advisory group. We're not in any capacity to make demands of CCP.
Oh, of course,
so
of course.
the lesser the easier our demand is to implement, and the ROI can be proven upon it, is really awesome, that you can push that kind of thing. But then all of a sudden when you're like, I want major changes, it's like, okay, how much resources you got to be, what's the ROI on this? And if they are a corporation, and if they don't see ROI, then they're gonna be like, we're gonna go this way.
Just a follow up with that. How effective is this CSM and everything that you're talking about? Like, is it pretty effective in your point of view? I mean, you're applying for this. I assume it is.
Okay, so I'm gonna be truthful here. I'm gonna say that there's definitely some things they have influence over, for sure. They're really able to talk to CCP, but obviously they can totally and utterly fuck the living shit up, and not have any real understanding or communication with CCP on what's going on because of the Skyhook change. It's just an evidence of. From what I've been hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've been hearing is that most of CSM is like, what the fuck? Oh, I said that there was like some problems here. I didn't say you needed to make it 1000% safe to run Skyhooks, and CCP. So CCP did it. It sounds like CCP for that just was like, fuck it, I'm not going to listen to CSM at all. I'm doing my own thing. And so can the CSM be effective? Abso-fucking-lutely. Can it be 100% ignored by CCP and they don't give a fuck what they say? That's their prerogative. Yep. It's better. It's way better to have it than not have it. I'll tell you that. Like, in fact, actually, I don't know if some of you know, but some of it's not really what it was based on, but it came about because of the T20 scandal. It came about because there needed to be player oversight of CCP, because we have one universe, and it's, like siding with one side or another in this universe is a big fucking no-no. So let's go through and, let's have like an overseeing committee that very quickly, if not immediately or upon its actual initial debut, was basically like, we're an advisory board. We're not here to oversee or dictate or do anything. We have no power whatsoever. If CCP tomorrow said there's no CSM, there's nothing that could be done. But it is cool. Like, I mean, what other game do you know of that you get to vote on a player elected official? 10 player elected officials.
Well, I mean, there's game. I come from the industry myself, like from Anarchy Online, and Anarchy Online had that, but I mean, a lot of it's just damage control. So
right. I think that we got something a little bit more, because we're one universe. We have something a little bit more special. Anybody that's like, well, we have something like that. It's like, yeah, for how many people? Like, because our voting base is, possibly hundreds of thousands of people that can vote in this.
I mean, when you get down to it, I mean, again, coming from the industry and being in this game for so long, I'm pretty sure the devs, I think CCP probably has more devs that play the game than, like, say, other MMOs, like
absolutely.
Other studios.
Yep. And they've tied their hands a little bit because they had to, because some people fucked up.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would assume that's probably, I mean, just working with devs, I know devs kind of have their own personal opinions. That's probably why Skyhook happened, right? They probably play the game and probably have their own opinions, which is totally fine. But yeah,
I will say that, man,
they need the CSM to kind of tell them, because, like, we play the game in different areas more than they do, right?
Yeah, so. No, and I do have to say that in defense of CCP too, a little bit here on the Skyhook thing, like, man, I was stealing billions upon billions of ISK every fucking time I went out, and I could do it solo. That's a little fucked up. There needed to be some reaction to the massive. We just opened up bank vaults all throughout fucking EVE. The other thing, though, that I will say, not in defense, is to say that this is a brand new fucking resource, and they're making billions off of it too, motherfuckers. Like, if I can steal 2 billion ISK from one Skyhook in one run, don't bitch about, oh, I can't make back the cost on this thing, because as soon as you get one cycle out of it. But maybe they weren't getting their one cycle. Maybe nobody got their one cycle. It was never one cycled, and they could never steal from themselves. So it was bad. So, we'll see. I like the old way though. I can see a little bit of safety net, but that's fine.
So yesterday, heard from Puke about it's kind of rolling back to iHubs, but when it comes to system flips, he kind of proposed of having like a dead space plex, basically maybe like an advanced type battlefield that would determine a system flip that both sides could fight over. And then it would take, if we're trying to flip like Fleet or something and you guys come and defend it, it pops, like it takes it back 5% contested rate. And obviously if we won it, we would flip the system. Whereas I'm still just a fan of having the iHub in space, just needing to update it. How would you feel about something like that?
So once again, that goes to dev resources and times to build a whole new thing regarding that. Maybe you just copy paste a battlefield that opens up, and you could do something like that where it's a fight over a battlefield or something. I'm not too concerned. I kind of like that. There needs to be some things that are non-dead space in faction warfare. There does need to be the ability for the big boys to come in and drop their bullshit and do their stupid shit, and we can all just kind of laugh and have fun about bullshit. And taking systems doesn't need to be like a whole fucking ordeal. Sometimes you can just send a few bombers over and just, flip the system or whatever. And that's, especially with system control not meaning shit at this point. I would be more concerned definitely with making system control mean shit, and then we can talk about flipping and redesigning all of flipping. And I'm not opposed to redesigning how something is flipped, but I don't think the current system is bad. Especially I haven't heard problems with it. It's just you get a system to a vulnerable and it flips. Like, it's very rare that you pull it back from the thing. And do we need to have this be more of a contention point? When it's worth it, yes. If you're not getting anything out of it, maybe if you give Battlefield LP out of it, you put a battlefield that has to be defeated, a special one, maybe that's open to advanced shit. Like an advanced battlefield. Some ideas like that would be cool, but that's, once again, a lot more development time that needs to kind of go into how do you develop that. Is the coding really easy to make a system flip? Can you just be like, if Battlefield Advanced is defeated, ship or system flips? Or do you need to like go through passcode and be like, I don't know what the spaghetti did here, but I just made it so that nobody can dock? Like, what? Why? I don't know.
I mean, I'd be fine with like maybe like a 10 or 15K payout on an LP flip, because if you get the militia together, you can get like 30 plus people on there. I'd be fine with just a small payout for everybody, but hiding it behind a dead space, like you said, kind of limits what we can do. And if anybody understands how we did this, we flipped Fleet in less than 5 minutes the other night on the iHub. If you know how we did it, that's how we did it. But it's one of those things, like, if somebody wants to contest an iHub, then you can come and contest on the iHub, not put it behind a dead space, and no one's gonna care.
Yeah, seeing levels of escalation is okay. There's, not everything needs to be open to a Sino in faction warfare, and actually almost all is not. But the iHub is, and that's okay. There's big toys that can be thrown around maybe in the future, and if it's worth it to fight over, like, that's actually another reason to throw big toys around. I'm not opposed to having big toys for short periods of time being on the field in low sec. So I'm not, there's tweaks that could be done, but I'm not too concerned about what we have right now for system flipping.
Hey, Frozen. This is Dean here. How are you?
Dean, how's it going? I love you, man.
Long time. I actually want to circle back to the conversation about industry upgrades and LP upgrades and stuff like that. I want to share a quick story with everyone that's happening in LowSec right now that maybe some of you guys aren't aware of. and maybe this will give some thought as to how you want to improve the industry side of FW and get more people to live in low sec. So some of you may or may not be aware of this, but Nisua Cartel is a pseudo PVE slash PvP slash indie corp based out of Nisua.
Real quick, I don't want mean to interrupt you, but I actually was a member of Nisua.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cartel, and I'm very familiar with the South Koreans that play that game. Those guys are fucking awesome. Regardless, before you even said anything, I just want to say I love those guys. So no matter what you're saying, good or bad about them, I just want to make sure those guys are fucking cool.
So as some of you know, they have an affiliation with Snuffed Out. So it was actually brought to my attention. I don't want to give away too much details, but it was brought to my attention that the affiliation is basically Nisua Cartel will mine and do industry stuff to help build caps for Snuff. And the way they are able to take advantage of some of that is actually through iHub upgrades, where they donate LP through I think it's Cowmail LP, because Nisua is owned by the Caldari right now. So they're actually taking advantage of the LP upgrades, even though they're not in FW. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I actually thought that was kind of cool. That someone out there who isn't even in FW is taking advantage of the industry upgrades, even though the current industry upgrades aren't, in my opinion, all that great.
Yeah, it could be better. With more people would do what they're doing then.
Exactly. So I just kind of want to share that quick, cool story that I found out about Nisua and Snuff, in hopes that maybe that will kind of, create some ideas on how to reinvigorate the industry and low sec side and get more people to live in low sec. So just a quick story that I thought was kind of cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I fully agree. I would love to see more cool things that you can pump into the iHub and spend LP on. We need more things to spend LP on. Come on, let's have fun. In the current, especially without the old way, you had to build up the tier system with it. There's no fucking reason besides what Nissan Cartel is doing. If you care, it's not horrible. Like the bonuses you get is like 50% off on a bunch of shit. Which is kind of cool for building an industry and taxes and shit.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
I think it's worth it for them at the size that they're building. I mean, they're building Cat.
Right, exactly.
So it's worth it.
Right, but it could be way better, and I don't see why it isn't.
Yeah. Are they building them in NPC stations?
No, they've got their own system, their own stations.
The bonus is only to NPCs. If I look at it.
Oh, is it? Then maybe they are building out of NPC stations, and
I'm pretty sure it's all.
I think it applies to structures as well too.
I thought it did apply to structures. If I remember correctly, it did at one point. I'm a shitty industrialist, so I don't know for sure, but
I didn't know either. But okay.
I'm pretty sure Nisua has a Asbel in Hollonen.
Yeah.
And I think that has full upgrades almost the entire time, so I'm assuming that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So that sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, if you upgrade everything to level 5 and you got something in Hallinan, you're definitely getting the benefits of the full.
Yeah, absolutely.
LP upgrade.
So let's do more with that. Absolutely, let's enhance that and get reasons for people. I don't mind. In fact, actually, that's one of the things that I'm like, no, it's not your resource. Just because you own the space and it's awesome and you control, like you're the Caldari, you're the Galente. Owning that area and you've upgraded it, that's not your resource. You're going to have to fight the pirates for it. And that's the whole reason why the pirates live in Losec. Because there's a bunch of riches that can be pirated. Let's deal with AWOXing in high sec by just pulling everybody to fucking Losec. Why would you want to shoot somebody there when you could shoot somebody in Losec? It'll be fine. Everybody, get here. Die. Fight.
It would be nice too, and this is kind of silly, but like we have sites for PvP. Why don't we have like faction warfare? I guess faction warfare type sites. It might be kind of counter intuitive, but like have faction warfare sites for like mining and everything else.
No, I
That
agree.
makes sense.
I think that actually does make sense because we
That's gonna create
use a lot
content.
of minerals. We use a bunch of stuff, and yeah, get the fuckers in outer space. One of my biggest platform things is reasons to undock. Let's get people undocking. That's the quick of it. The most of it is that let's get fucking people to undock in shiny ass shit. Let's get people to undock in stuff that's even if it's cruiser and below, if it's just a retriever or whatever. Come on, let's get them out there, get them in space, get them in danger. Let's and make it fucking worthwhile. I'm all for prosperity more than I'm for scarcity. I think scarcity is the dumbest fucking idea that has ever existed in EVE Online. Like, could you imagine picking I don't know how many of you guys play Stellaris, but I'm a huge Stellaris. Every Thursday night I play Stellaris with my buddies. For the last 7-8 years or whatever, more probably at this point. And why would you pick an Ascension perk that was scarcity? Why would you pick the tradition tree scarcity? Like, what? No.
So I actually have an idea on, I guess, maybe mining LP or mining missions.
Mining
mechanics are currently there. You just kind of have to improve upon it. And so a few nights ago, I was actually looking into no-sec pirate missions like Sancha, Garista, Angel, and so on and so forth. And I was looking at how much LP you could make as a miner doing their level 4 missions. And if you upgrade your social skills and so on and so forth, the LP is okay. It's about 3,000 to 5,000 LP per level 4 missions as a miner. The reason why most people don't do them is because number one, you need like a mining barge, like a retriever or Hulk, to carry the minerals. You won't be able to do it feasibly within a venture or an endurance. And number two, you have to travel like 3 or 4 jumps away. This is old mission running code from years ago that CCP never really fixed. I think if CCP could somehow introduce this for Caldari militia or Galante militia faction warfare, ease up on the restrictions of the mining barge, and maybe force the miner to only have to go 1 or 2 jumps.
Maybe
I think that's how you'll get miners and the industry people in the low sec.
One of the cool things that happens during the winter event is you get those like PvE like winter mining sites. Those are super fun too.
Yeah.
I'm all for pulling. Actually, I think, and that's one of the things. I think that there should be a lot to do with faction warfare that has nothing to do with being enlisted in faction warfare. You should be able to come out and do missions for the faction to give minerals to the cause, and that maybe does something for the system, or like there should be, and this can kind of be spread out as I think that the test bed is faction warfare, but spread it out to faction warfare players. Maybe do missions that enhance the site or the content that exists inside of a system by running mining missions for them and stuff. Or I mean, it would be really cool if we could almost tie it into like a player corporation could put out a mining mission for somebody, and it does generate like a spot that is scannable down, or it maybe even pops up on the overview. That's like, here, you go to the mining site, it's gonna pop up on the overview. But if you get the thing, you get it in here, they'll pay you X amount of money for that minerals. Because I would do that all day long in fucking Hades, man. Like, Hades would just have all these mining missions going out for me to get all the minerals that I need to build my army of ENIs.
They could literally just take the site code that they have and just replace the NPCs with ore or gas. And then, like, in order for you to hold the site, you gotta mine the ore or gas that spawns, and it just recycles just like the NPCs do in sites. And then once you hold it for 25 minutes, then it becomes a resource for everyone in your faction.
Now, I will say that this is also going into the level of this is solid dev time. This is getting into the code and hoping the spaghetti doesn't spit on you. And so,
But it would be nice.
But it would be cool. I think there's a lot of potential for that. And some of the times with code, you can just be like, listen, it's important. Let's go either make something outside the spaghetti that's cool, or let's get into the spaghetti and break some things on the test server for a little bit until we figure out how to make this work. And I think that getting people into low sec is huge on my list, and tying it into faction warfare is an easy tie-in. Tying it into the new player experience is an easy tie-in. You know, these are things that new players could do that would be really cool. You know, is getting players involved in the real story of EVE. In fact, I hate the fucking stupid NPE. The station's under attack by Triglavians or blah 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 blah. I don't know, like bullshit. No story. Like, there's no story in EVE. Like, there is a story. There's an outlying story, but you're not some epic character. You're just one of the dudes. Come out here and make something fucking cool for yourself. Like,
it's been about an hour and 10 minutes. Does anybody else have any final questions for Paul? He's got a lot to do.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Before you said fuck
question.
snuff,
What?
can you
Go
expand
ahead.
on that?
but we had a little bit of crossover there.
But it's like how you plan to do it.
How do I plan to do it is be extremely fucking passionate and just talk like I do. And, you know, I'm always going to have my podcast, my stream. I'm going to be talking my shit, pushing it. And I'm going to be doing the same thing in any of the CSM meetings. And once again, I'm not here to like dictate to CCP how to do stuff. I'm about to bring the passion of let's improve this fucking game. Let's have passion about this game. Let's care about what's going on. Let's be involved in what's happening. And I'll tell you from my point of view what I'm seeing, what I think will improve the game, which I've, you know, just spent the last hour talking to you guys about. And I'm also willing to admit maybe I'm fucking wrong. But just come back at me with a little bit of passion, you know? Let's care about this game. Let's make this fucking great, you know? Like, we've got potential here that's unbelievable. And it's 20 years old and still has so much more fucking potential. Like, we can do so much more. Let's do more.
Yeah, I had a quick question about LP when you kill other players. Why do we get LP when we kill the opposite faction, but we don't get LP when we kill neutrals who are likewise invading the space?
Yeah, that's a good question. I could see my immediate answer is code probably, and then beyond that, I don't see too much of a reason as to why like somebody that enters a plex to try and to do that, as long as it's feasible to code that easily. If you come into a plex, you kill him, you get some LP, that'd be kind of cool. It's as long, you know, there's always been problems with the, you know, killing somebody that getting LP for killing somebody and then trying to game the system for it. But if it's already working the way that it is, and I feel like it is, yeah, it's not a bad extension, as long as its coding is feasible.
Would probably be difficult to distinguish between actual invading people and, on the other side, people just passing through like a random hauler. If you're killing him, then technically you're the pirate.
Well, you could
distinguish for being a pirate.
So this is where spaghetti code will probably break it, but you could put into the code that if you access a plex and you become suspect for accessing a plex, which they already have, if you activate an acceleration gate and then you have checked for all whether or not they're in faction warfare. If they're not in faction warfare, then you flag them as a suspect, and you then can do a flag possibly that says give LP for this kill to one of anybody of whatever faction kills this person, and their fleet, of course, the same way that it's set up.
That's kind of indicating that it's illegal to be in play, right?
Right, yeah, basically, yeah.
Part of a faction.
If you're not part of the faction, then you're part of faction warfare. You're just third partying, but you are part of faction warfare. I don't see a real big problem with that. It just is whether or not it's feasible and an easy fix or an easy addition is a whole nother question of whether spaghetti code fucks us.
Awesome. Any last questions? Going once, going twice. All right. Thanks, Fall, for coming out, man. Really good hearing you talk. We're gonna try to do some more of these as well if I can get them scheduled. So, thanks everybody for coming, hanging out, listening, sharing thoughts.
Yeah, this is super awesome. This is epic. Like, you guys are doing some cool ass shit. Like, this is way above and beyond what the Galente are doing for our CSM stuff. And we have a CSM candidate. So,
you've technically got two. So,
you guys could dominate the CSM.
Oh, yeah. We should be the 2 extra picks. That's what'll happen. Actually, I really, to a certain point, I really think that there should be a Caldari, a Galente, an Amar, and a Mimitar election. Like that, we all get to vote with our own thing to give one CSM representative of the Galente, one for the Caldari. That's wild Mike plans that I have, which you guys don't know who Mike is, but he's got plans and they're crazy. And they don't always work out well. So, but yeah, thank you all for having me on here. This is super epic. You know, I would love it if you vote for me. My most important thing is vote. And when you do look at your, you have the chance, you have the opportunity, you have the access to the information that's out there on who you're voting for. Vote with your heart, do it for real. Let's get a cool CSM out there. And, the more people voting, the less that the null blocks get to control this shit.
What's a good way to find you, dude? Like, do you have a Discord, just main one you hang out in, or?
Oh yeah, we have the Federation Frontline Discord. We have our podcast. We have our website. Actually, everything is basically on our website. So
let me link that. So that way, if I wanted to talk to you or other people wanted to chat with you.
Yeah,
just throw it in public chat.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, let's load that up here. Go there, public chat. Perfect. There we go. FederationFrontlineReport.com. It's got our podcast, our Twitch, our YouTube, our About, recruitment, CSM stuff that we're doing. I'm going to probably post up the recording of this. I'll throw this on YouTube, actually. If you guys are cool with that. If anybody's not cool with that, let me know. But yeah, I'll throw this up, and then we have my Discord on there. Madtown Meetup. If you want to come and hang out with me in Madison, Wisconsin next year, probably around August. We haven't picked a date yet, but always I will buy you a drink if you're my enemy for sure. Like if you're Caldari, I owe you a drink. Period. I owe Trix many drinks. So
election too, buddy.
Then of course you could always buy stuff at our merch store, revamped and renewed. So but yeah, thank you all, guys. This has been epic. This whole run has been kind of epic. Hearing somebody say, like, who do you want to serve alongside, and I got a shout out. I was just like, oh my god, man, like, Augustive, you rock, thank you. I couldn't believe it. Being my 10 minutes of fame with EVE Online. This has been super cool though, and if any of you are coming to Vegas, man, once again, I owe you a drink. So.
Awesome. Thank you everybody for swinging by. We'll try and get some more of these set up. I saw that CCP is live on Twitch right now with more CSM interviews, so feel free to go over there and watch those as well.
One thing I wanted to ask real quick, if you have any of these other town halls, I was really tempted to jump in here when Puke was in here. Is it cool if I just sit in and listen to any town halls that you guys have.
Yeah,
We're actually
I
thinking
leave
of
these
having
open
a
on
CSM
purpose.
off.
Yeah, I leave these open on purpose. Right, try and keep them as public as possible. I'm working to get potentially Oz to come on the show, pending a time frame he can do it. So we'll see who else we can get from CMSM as well.
Epic, yeah. And if you guys, anything I can do to help you guys with this kind of stuff too, just let me know. I don't actually know how I would be able to help you with this. Also, if you want to team up and murder somebody, I'm always looking for a good Caldari Galente team up. I'm blowing somebody up, and Trix knows this, so.
Oh, you know we always down for that.
Yeah, team up, Trip and Trix. Just watching the stream, just wait for them to. Are you in a position that we can help you? All right, good. We're in a position to blow you up. All right, let's do it.
Always down to help the Southern Gal Mill bros.
Let's kill some Germill.
Team up to kill Grist.
Yeah, I'll team up to kill a neutral capital. I don't care.
I will team up to kill a neutral Vexer.
Hey, can we get a Garistas like icon in local chat, right? That shows us that they're in Garistas. Like, I want that. Help me identify them.
Nope.
Yeah, that would be
Fair enough.
Even for all of us, really.
I think CCP knows that's an issue because that was immediately bitched about when Havoc came out.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more fucking origin system now than there used to be.
Yeah.
They're not like a -5, but like they're not even like true pirates to the old code because they're not getting negative status. That sucks.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Well, I'm going to hop over. I've got Declaration of Wars, which Oz might actually, speaking of Oz, might actually be on Declaration of War, and super excited. So funny, I was part of Network for like, I don't know, it was almost like a year that I was part of the network, and I never got an interview on the Declaration of War. And Alec, when he was talking to my co-host, he was like, he had an interview on there. He's like, I'm sure we had Frozen on here, and I'm like, I'm 100% sure you didn't. Like, but now I'm on. So, this is so cool, guys. Have a good one, and thank you so much.
Yep, later, Frozen. Thanks for coming again, man.